In the shadowy corridors of historical speculation, few mysteries have captivated the modern imagination quite like Tartaria. It is a name that flickers at the edge of memory, a word inscribed on ancient maps, then wiped away as if it had never existed. But the story of Tartaria is not just about geography. It is a tale woven into the fabric of alternative history, conspiracy, and the collective yearning for secrets hidden beneath the sands of time. Long before our current age of satellites and digital archives, the world was a patchwork of unknowns. European cartographers, peering eastward beyond the familiar boundaries of Russia and China, labeled vast, unmapped territories as Tartary. These regions, stretching across Siberia, Central Asia, and parts of the Far East, seemed limitless, mysterious, and forbidding. The very word Tartary conjured visions of wild steppe riders, enigmatic cultures, and lands where the known rules of civilization bent and blurred. But as the centuries turned, Tartary faded from maps. By the 19th century, the name was gone, replaced by Siberia, Mongolia, and Central Asia, labels reflecting new political realities and deeper knowledge of the land. To historians, this was the natural evolution of cartography. To others, it was something else entirely, the deliberate erasure of a civilization, a cover-up so profound that it reshaped our understanding of the past. This is the heart of the Tartaria legend, a sprawling, lost empire that may have touched every continent, whose influence is said to linger in grand buildings, star-shaped fortresses, and architectural marvels that defy conventional explanation. To believers, Tartaria was not simply a geographical term, but the center of a world-spanning civilization, technologically advanced and culturally unified, whose echoes can be seen in the domes of St. Petersburg, the colonnades of Washington, D.C., and the ornate train stations of New York. Central to the Tartarian myth is the idea that this empire was erased, its history rewritten, its monuments destroyed or repurposed, its very existence denied by the powers that rose in its wake. The reasons for this alleged cover-up are as varied as they are dramatic. Some assert that Tartaria possessed free energy technologies, drawing power from the ether through architectural designs that doubled as generators. Others claim its social and governmental systems posed a threat to emerging Western empires, which sought to establish dominance by portraying the lands of Tartary as empty, backward, and ripe for conquest. The most sensational element of the myth is the so-called mud flood, a global catastrophe that proponents believe occurred sometime in the 18th or 19th centuries. According to this theory, an immense deluge of mud engulfed cities worldwide, burying entire civilizations and forcing survivors to rebuild atop the ruins. Photographs from the 19th and early 20th centuries, showing buildings with windows and door partially submerged below street level, are cited as evidence. Where historians see basements or urban development, such as the raising of street levels to combat flooding and poor drainage, Tartaria theorists see the remnants of a buried world. Star forts, geometric fortresses scattered across Europe, Asia, and the Americas, become another cornerstone of the narrative. Mainstream scholars attribute these structures to Renaissance military innovation, designed to withstand cannon fire and maximize defensive efficiency. But the Tartarian perspective suggests a different origin, one of global unity and shared technological prowess, architectural fingerprints left behind by an empire with a single, sophisticated vision. The World's Fairs of the 19th century, most notably the 1893 Columbian Exposition in Chicago, are also reimagined. Officially, these were feats of industrial might, temporary palaces constructed at breakneck speed and dismantled once the festivities ended. For Tartaria believers, the scale and beauty of these buildings are inexplicable. They propose that these structures were not built, but inherited, remnants of the lost civilization, destroyed to maintain the historical narrative of modern progress. Why, then, would such a civilization be deliberately erased? The answer lies in the intersection of power and narrative. Modern empires, rising in the wake of Tartaria's supposed demise, needed to justify their expansion. By rewriting history, portraying Siberia and Central Asia as uninhabited or undeveloped, they legitimized conquest and colonization. Acknowledging an advanced civilization would have undermined these projects, forcing a reckoning with the true complexity and diversity of human achievement. Moreover, if Tartaria truly mastered technologies beyond our current understanding, free energy, advanced construction, and perhaps even forms of communication lost to time, its erasure ensured the monopolization of industry and resource extraction. Suppressing such knowledge would keep the engines of progress in the hands of a select few, rather than distributing it freely across nations. The Tartarian myth is not without its critics. Historians, architects, and scientists have systematically dismantled its foundations, pointing to well-documented building techniques, financial records, and urban planning decisions that explain the so-called anomalies. They emphasize the evolution of cartographic terminology, the innovations of the industrial age, and the geological impossibility of a recent global mud flood. The evidence, they argue, is clear. Tartary was a label, not an empire. Its disappearance from maps marks the advance of knowledge, not a conspiracy. Yet, the myth persists, thriving in the fertile soil of the digital age. Social media platforms amplify dramatic imagery, submerged windows, ornate facades, and mysterious forts, without the burden of historical context. Online communities dissect old photographs, searching for clues that official history has supposedly missed. The story of Tartaria has fused with other conspiracies, from alternative chronologies to the suppression of groundbreaking inventions, becoming a vessel for skepticism, dissatisfaction, and the desire for a more wondrous world. What does the enduring allure of Tartaria reveal? It speaks to a profound mistrust of authority, a belief that history is shaped by the powerful and is therefore suspect. It reflects the human tendency to fill gaps in knowledge with myth, to imagine lost golden ages and secret truths. In the narrative of Tartaria, we find not just a hunger for the past, but a mirror to the anxieties of the present, a world where information is abundant but certainty is scarce. Ultimately, the story of Tartaria endures not because of hard evidence, but because it resonates with something deeper. It satisfies our longing for mystery, our suspicion that reality is stranger than we have been taught. Whether or not there ever was an empire called Tartaria, the myth itself has become immortal, etched into our collective imagination, a testament to the power of stories to shape our view of history and ourselves. In a world that increasingly demands proof, Tartaria stands as a reminder that some mysteries persist, not in ancient ruins or forgotten texts, but in the hearts and minds of those who refuse to accept the official account. It is an empire of imagination, a legend reborn in every generation, forever inviting us to look beyond the maps of certainty toward the uncharted realms of possibility.